of fun memes out there. You've seen them. Comrade Kamala and the Angle's original comma chameleon. But now a new one. How about Kamala the Killjoy? Americans with eyes and ears and a little bit of common sense see that the slick, joyful branding for what it is. It's a cover for something that is far more sinister. I like to call it socialism with a smile. It's a seething disdain for tens of millions of Americans who still support Donald Trump and his policies. Now, they tell us that the DNC was a celebration of Joe Biden last night and a joyful turning of the page, but it's all lies. First, they were ready to go scorched earth, remember, against Joe Biden just 1 month ago. And second, beyond the Obama nostalgia tonight, and boy, is it going to be on overload, there's not much joy in this convention hall, certainly not compared to what we saw at the RNC. Because what really gets the crowd pumped up, it's not love and it's not optimism, it's hatred and retribution.
Plague on the American conscience.
Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends.
Trump hasn't spent much time in New York lately, except that is to get convicted of 34 felonies, and that's just fine with us.
He'll be a dictator on day one. We saved democracy in 2020. And now we must save it again in 2024.
Yeah, right after the coup that kicked him out. So welcome to the DNC, everyone. Have a great time. It's part freak show, part revenge play. They don't get this mad, I don't think, at the terrorists in Gaza. They don't get this upset about China for committing genocide in Tibet. Certainly not that mad at Russia crushing Ukrainian forces. But listen to Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear saying the most horrific things about J.D. Vance and his family.
J.D. Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like, inconvenience is traffic. I mean, make him go through this.
He was given the chance to clean up that disgusting comment after J.D. Vance called him out, but Beshear did not.
It's ridiculous, but it's also deflection. As a man, J.D. Vance will never have to face any of this personally, but it's sad that he lacks the empathy to be able to put himself in a different position.
Yeah, he was implying that J.D. Vance's family should have to undergo a rape to really understand this. Nice guy. Now, I understand that people aren't always the most eloquent, but when he said it, he meant it. And he wants you to know that he's not backing down. So is this what Kentucky elected him to do? Is that part of the Joy campaign? Be a vicious, hateful national spokesman for abortion? So I had this funny idea that they elected someone like a Beshear, by the way, he wants to be in the Senate, to run the Commonwealth. But the diehards here at the DNC, they don't really care about raising our standard of living. They don't care about lowering energy costs for working families. They don't care about our declining military recruitment. You're not going to hear anything about that here. They're not going to care about how many migrants flood urban America, not too far from where we're broadcasting tonight. But what they are really committed to doing is to punishing Donald Trump and all of his followers. So how are they passing the torch when they're stuck in a bitter time warp laced with lies?
Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches, their veins bulging, so emboldened by a president then in the White House that they saw as an ally. This will be the first presidential election since January 6th. On that day, we almost lost everything about who we are as a country. And that threat, this is not hyperbole, that threat is still very much alive.
By the way, anytime a politician says that's not hyperbole, it is hyperbole. And he's tried this for how long and where did it get him? He's in Santa Ynez, California, I think, right now for a couple weeks. David Plouffe, a top advisor to Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, told Axios today that the democracy theme, what you just heard Biden say last night, it's going to be hit hard all week. But Biden has tried this argument for years. It didn't work. So again tonight, I say, what happened to joy? What happened to the vibes? Are they already running out of ideas? I mean, beyond the free vasectomies and abortion, that is. It sure seems like it. Now, I remember the lock her up chants. They made a big deal of that at the Trump rallies in 2016. And whatever you think, it seemed to me that they were kind of chanted all in good fun. But these people are serious. Look at her nodding. Now, they aren't here to work with Republicans. They want to crush Republicans and all traditionally minded Americans. Now, we know the Democrats' freedom agenda. You'll hear a lot about that. But it's a crock. Their idea of fundamental freedoms, they're not the constitutional ones, Second Amendment, First Amendment. No. It's about ensuring more abortions, even late-term ones, more pot, more porn, more DEI giveaways. How inspiring. And Kamala doesn't for a second think that she's going to be the president of all the people. And the little bone they're going to throw to the little man, Adam Kinzinger, this week, it means nothing. It's a cheap nod to fake bipartisanship because he's not a Republican at all. He's just an angry, diminutive chap who needs friends. By contrast, when Trump talks about working with the Democrats to rebuild American cities, he actually means it. Because he's worked with Democrats for most of his life, long before politics. Again, this is all about the policies. As he's told us back in February, his success will be the best revenge.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.